Here we have this week's Tech-A video newsletter on Monday the 29th of October 2007. Starting off this week with the CAC 40. We can see that it managed to hit a support just above the 5600 support line that we noted last week. In fact, it kind of fits in more closely with, if we're being fanatical about this, a little bit higher, around about 5640. Now, one of the things you always have to remember, of course, with supports and resistances is that they're not an exact science. They're just there to show possible points where there's likely to be a change in sentiment. So, you know, that they're incredibly accurate in terms of that's where, around that area is where a change in sentiment will happen. The only thing is that they can never be exacting, you know, down to sort of point for point. So here we have the CAC, which has managed to bounce up, broke through, not so much a strong resistance really, because it was only caused, it was only the top of 2 points of consolidation that were ignored previously on the breakdown on here, where it was going bearish. And because it broke through it so easily, the fact that it's broken back through it on the way up is not really much of a surprise. What we can expect is certainly a top ceiling at the moment within the short term for the CAC at 5900. It will not have too much of a problem breaking through this upper area, but there are levels that it consolidated at previously, and this point here where we sort of have this resistance just above 5900 or at around 5900 point to where there's a likelihood that it's going to become a little bit stuck again and possibly cause some consolidation. The reason why this is so strong, well, we only have to look back where there was some really strong highs and lows, and where it's bounced from this point previously. So with it being trading underneath that, it's going to cause a bit of a problem getting back through that. So we're likely to see the CAC raise up to around this point of consolidation, and then more than likely have a similar period where it's just consolidating within that range. Moving on now to the DAX. The DAX we saw bounce at around about 7,800, which was pretty much where the support was. There was a smaller support within almost sort of the midpoint of this broader consolidation. I have quite a few lines there. I'll tidy that up soon. Much like the CAC, bounced, broke through the midpoint, the 7,900 mark, and it's likely, much like the CAC again, to get caught within a period of consolidation. It might be a little bit higher. It might be the top range, or between maybe even up to about 8,100. Certainly no higher, but it's got a point to break through at 8,000 that it might have a bit of a problem with. Certainly seeing a bit of a slowdown in the market for the DAX today. If we look at the DAX, we can see that it's, you know, it's opened up at 8,004 and not really moved a great deal away from that since. Moving now on to the Dow, everyone's favourite. Landed at support. We noted there was a strong support around about 13,600, a bit below that actually. Bounced at this support. There is a consolidation there that could slow it down a little, but considering that we have quite a strong bullish candle, we're likely to see it move up through that and reach a ceiling of a prior resistance at 1400. Because of what's happened in the last sort of few weeks, with it being very bearish, once again collapsing, and now getting this sort of newfound verve, as it were, it's not likely to break through this 1400. More than chances are it will break through this small point of resistance caused by this period of consolidation, and that's quite clear by that bearish candle, but it could have a bit of a problem certainly breaking through the 1400. If it does, it's more likely just to rest above it and be in a similar point of this consolidation here. Now moving back onto the FTSE. Similar in some respects to the Dow and the CAC and DAC. Broke through resistance, which was basically the midpoint of this broad range consolidation between 16,500 and around about 6,780. Likely to see a consolidation within this range of 6,600, 6,780. Much like we've seen previously, it's going to take a lot for it to break above that, but look for it to follow Dow's lead. If the Dow manages to break the 1400 mark, chances are the FTSE will follow suit and do very much similar thing, breaking this resistance here. The Nasdaq has been very bullish last few months or so, but has moved into quite a messy consolidation. It's likely to be trading beneath this resistance for a while yet. If we get a breakout once again of the Dow above the 1400 mark, and it manages to clear this consolidation, then I imagine this will have a knock-on effect not only on the FTSE and some of the other indices, but certainly push the Nasdaq above this really problematic period of consolidation that it's entering. So for now, we're likely to see a tighter consolidation. If I draw a midpoint between these 2 points, which is simply drawing a line straight through the middle, we can get an idea of where this tighter consolidation for the Nasdaq is likely to be. But if we get a break on the 1400 with the Dow, we could more than likely see a break in the Nasdaq as well. Finally, moving on to the NIC, collapsed quite tremendously the last couple of weeks. Found support at 16,100, bouncing up, likely to break through this 16,500 consolidation, with a resistance quite high at 1,700. With that resistance being quite high, we're likely to see a period of consolidation within that. So that's what we have for this week. Once again, it's a point of following the Dow and then seeing the overall effect that we have that has on both the FTSE, the Nasdaq, DAX and CAC. Okay, that's this week's video newsletter on the 29th of October 2007. We'll be back next week with an update.